Good morning, everyone. This is Amanda. I do hope that you're well. Today is the 26th of October, and no, it's not. How interesting that I said the 26th of October. Well, that means something. I've no idea what it means. It's the 26th of January. Those of you that follow me for a while know that I often time hop all over the place. Let me just have a look at what's going on the week of the 26th of October. There's a partial lunar eclipse on the 28th of October. Maybe something's building that week in relation to the subjects in this video. So we might have to come back to that. I might even pull a card on it. But yeah, today is the 26th of January. I recorded half of this video yesterday, and I've decided to come back and add to it today. The reason being, I attempted to do a reading on Sweden and their potential entry into NATO or not. It was very much a first look. But I realised I was sort of straying, obviously, into the energy of talking about the war, Ukraine-Russia. And that's what I'd like to pull on today. Okay, so I think it will fit nicely with the work I did yesterday on Sweden. And also in this video, you will see a piece of work which links into Chris Hipkins, the new Prime Minister of New Zealand. So this is going to be very much linked into the world, political, and unfortunately, war energy that we have going on at the moment. I read on the onset of the Ukraine, I'm choosing my words very carefully, I'm deliberately talking slowly. I read initially on the war between Ukraine and Russia right at the start. There's a couple of videos that you can look back on if you choose to. I can't remember a lot of what I said, but I can remember some top notes. Two of the top notes that came out were, number one, I likened this war to Vietnam in that it was going to be an unwinnable war, and that it's the type of energy where countries would get dragged into it and then find it very hard to get themselves out of it. An unwinnable war. I remember saying that. This was before the arrival of Allied help for Ukraine. So those words are maybe even more fitting. I also remember very clearly reading on Putin and Zelensky, and the cards that effectively came up showed them as two equally strong men who were willing to fight to the death to win. Like two gladiators in a ring, neither prepared to give up, neither prepared to give an inch actually, and equal combatants, if that's such a word. Okay? And I just remember feeling the strength of Zelensky and the strength of Putin. And it was like, boy, this is going to be tough for the world because neither of these guys is going to give up. Now, since then, many months have passed. The war has dragged on. And Putin's health appears to be failing, which I think I did allude to. Don't think he's probably here for that much longer, but we'll have a look at his health in a moment. But what has happened over the last, it's been going on for a few months really, but particularly this week, there has just been the announcement that a number of German tanks and UK tanks, and I believe US tanks, are going to be going into Ukraine to help them. Indeed, I'm just looking at the news here, and I believe this figure might not be completely correct, but it's a ballpark which shows just how much money we're talking. I think the US military have promised £30 billion in a package to help Ukraine. I read today, whether it's right, whether it's wrong, but intuitively I feel it's right, that there is a expectation from Zelensky that now with the arrival of this extra allied help, and I believe Germany has also, and the US have now also opened up the possibility that other allies can now go in and also offer Ukraine support, that there's a thinking that maybe we will at some point also give high-range missiles capable of going into Russia to help the war effort. All of this is getting rather frightening, to say the least. The truth is, and I think we have to accept, that it's spreading into be a European war by any other name, but isn't being called that. And of course, America is also now getting involved. It could very easily escalate into more of a world war situation, which is of course not what anybody wants. Because we have Zelensky being armed up to the hilt by his allies. We have Putin in a corner who is going to respond. And intuitively what I feel as well is that Putin will turn to his allies to help him. Remember the two gladiators in the ring. They will do whatever it takes to win. So if one of the gladiators is calling on his friend's support and getting it, there is no way that Putin won't be doing the same. So we have a very serious situation here. I'd like to go back in and just have a look at it. And I think to start with, I'm just going to pull 3 general cards and ask Archangel Metatron for some guidance with regards to this escalating war energy in our world, with Ukraine and Russia as the crucible or crux of it all. So let's have a look. And I'm not going to ask a question, I'm just going to say what wants to come out. Okay, so the first card that's flown out is the card of the Hermit. The Hermit, which is Metatron saying we all need to be going within to seek the guidance, and the world needs to go within and seek guidance at this time. Okay. Go within to find the answers in a world that is escalating more and more out of control, or at one level that's what it feels like. Go within, go within, go within. The answers are within. Let's have a look what goes with the Hermit card. The Lovers, which is the card of choice in this respect. And the third card, Crux of the Matter. The 3 of Pentacles, with the 10 of Wands on the bottom of the deck. That we need to be working together to find a solution that suits all parties. But the choice is, are we going to do that? Also, the 10 of Wands is implying that, and then we've got the 10 of Swords as well, 2 tens, completion of something, that this can't carry on, that the burden is becoming unimaginable for Mother Earth, upon whom we fight these wars. It's becoming untenable and heavy for all countries involved, at a personal and moral level, at a financial level. We are a world that is severely in debt, and yet we're able to find £30 billion when we need to for war. That's me saying that, but I want to say that because it's the truth, isn't it? If you look at America, look at any country, but particularly USA, huge homeless problems, huge issues to do with no medical care for many people, but £30 billion is found to fight a war in a foreign land. Has it always been thus? Yes, probably. And I'm not singling the US out there. There are many other countries just as capable of doing the same thing, including the one that I'm sitting in, the UK. So there are our 5 cards. I'd like to pull some cards for Putin and some cards for Zelensky. But before I do that, there's an unusual deck that wants to come into this reading, which is the Sacred Rebels deck. And I don't know why, but obviously there's a message in here. So let's just see what message is in this deck linked into what we're reading on here. The escalating war energy. Ukraine, Russia. Escalating war energy. We have the energy of heaven sent, number 33. This is the energy of Christ consciousness. 33, the age upon which he died. On the cross, suffering, we all know the story. But yet there was rebirth, there was resurrection, the light came. I've been on YouTube since 2012. I know the type of themes that keep repeating over and over. One of the themes that repeats and has been not just a YouTube thing, it's out there in society, is that people are just waiting for the second coming. They're waiting for the rapture. They're waiting for Jesus just to come again, sort out all our problems and all our mess, stop all the wars, help us get back into peace. I can't say any more clearly that that's not going to happen. Now, don't be disappointed by that, because actually what the Christ consciousness wave wishes to do to end this intolerable situation, double 10, is to help us realise that the Christ energy lives within each person. That doesn't mean you have to be a Christian. It means that the Christ consciousness energy, which is actually shared by other religions around the world as well, it's a template for how we live in terms of love, compassion, gentleness, forgiveness, non-judgment. All of these seeds are within us. And it feels as though there is help coming to help us remember that. So it's not a figure that appears from the sky. It's not a man a God who becomes man again. It is a wave of Christ consciousness energy that helps us remember that we are divine. And when we truly remember that, we can't keep playing out these war games that we've done ad infinitum, generation after generation, decade after decade, incarnation after incarnation. So this also implies, the card Heaven Sent 33, that we can call on this Christ consciousness energy to grow within ourselves. The seeds are there. We can ask for help to allow them to grow, because the change that we seek in the world and the peace that we seek in the world starts one person at a time. It starts with you. It starts with me. There's no point waiting for that guy over there or that woman over there to do it. It starts with us. So that's a very profound message that's important to remember when we look at subjects such as this, which is so difficult. Okay, now let's have a look at the energy of Putin and the energy of Zelensky. And actually, I'm going to pull a card from this Sacred Rebels deck again. Let's just have a look. So, an energy for Putin. Energy for Putin. Okay, sorry, there's a few that have just fallen out there. This is a man, before I show you the cards, who is facing his mortality, who knows that he is dying. We have visions of life beyond death. He's getting glimpses of, when I say the afterlife, I just mean that he's aware that his time is running out on this planet. And I don't know whether it's conscious. It may very well be in dream state. Because remember, spirit loves everybody. Whoever they are, whatever they've done, whether you think he's a good guy, whether you think he's a bad guy, spirit is reminding him that he is more than this life. He's more than this incarnation as Vladimir Putin. He's having visions of life beyond death. And we have 44, which is angelic frequency. Angels surrounding him at this time. Yes, angels surrounding him at this time. Because he is a loved child of God just as much as anybody else is. Whatever he's done, whatever you think he's done. We have the legacy of light. So he's thinking about his legacy. He's thinking about what he wants to leave. And in Putin's mind, he wants to bring the motherland back together. So for his children's children, this is where he's at. We've got a card here which also says seeing the true you. Card number 29, which makes 11, a gateway energy. This feels as though this is very deep and very private in many ways, although I feel I have his higher self's permission to look at it, because this is a man who is facing who he truly is. And that is all aspects of him, okay? Whether he looks into the lake and sees a hero, a saviour, a monster, you don't know because you're not in his mind. I'm not in his mind. I'm just able to see that he's looking in the mirror, the water, and the water is the energy of life. This is a life review, and I do feel as though he hasn't got much time left on our planet, because these cards almost could be somebody that has already passed over, who is looking back, and a life review is usually when you've died. I know Zelensky said something recently along the lines of, is he actually still alive, Putin? And I don't know. I'm just saying that these cards are implying somebody who's close, aware of their own mortality, aware of the hourglass with not much sand left in it, wanting to be proud of the legacy that he leaves, but also having to do the life review. Let me pull one tarot card for Putin. Okay, that's just come out before I even tried to really shuffle. The Seven of Swords. I'm going to look up the actual meaning in this particular deck, because this deck is a Russian deck, which is why I wanted to use it. And I just wonder if there's a particular, slight take on it that other places don't have. It says it's a test of intellectual skills connected to cunning and adventurism, trickery and diplomacy dangerously close to scam and lies. Okay, that's what it says. It says Seven of Swords describes an attempt to find a solution to a complicated situation, to avoid conflict, and to get what is desired with the help of some tricks and schemes. The question is, how big a lie is it? What is it about? And what kind of consequences may be brought? Seven of Swords is crooked. It raises the question of plausibility of intention and ethics of action. So, yeah, this is often to do with cunning and deception and treachery. It also says here it's about escaping from responsibility, getting away with it, attempts to avoid direct talk, stockpiling of distracting explanations. I feel as though, I'm picking up here, we've got Five of Cups on the bottom of the deck as well, that he's holed up somewhere, not wanting to talk to his upper command, as it were, not wanting to maybe face the consequences of a war that is much more difficult than he thought it was going to be at the start, and not wanting to take any responsibility for it. So this Seven of Swords also feels as though there's an aspect where he's lying to himself as well about the scale of the uphill battle that he has both personally and also professionally at this time. That might also be in terms of actually keeping his seat as leader of Russia. But Five of Cups, as I said in my very first reading when I looked at the war, it's actually not bringing him the triumph, pleasure's not really a word that I would use for war, but whatever he thought he was going to gain as a result of this initiative to claim back land, it's bringing dissatisfaction, not satisfaction. So those cards are pretty clear. I've just cut the deck, and we've also got the Emperor. Okay, so there he is. He's still the Emperor. For the time being anyway, and there he is in his red as the Emperor. Let me pull one card to go with the Emperor. What are we trying to say? Because we know he's the leader still. Sorry, hold on, let me just reshuffle that. The Nine of Swords did come out, but so did about 10 others. The Nine of Swords, which is the Emperor is worried. The Emperor is worried. The Emperor is losing sleep. The Emperor is having nightmares. The Emperor is stressed. We have the Wheel of Fortune on the bottom of the deck. Fate and destiny is beckoning for him. His destiny, in his head, the destiny is, I will be triumphant, I will win, I will ride to victory. But we have the Devil card there as well. So he's trapped, basically. He's trapped. And I feel this is linked into illness. It's as though the devil is thwarting the victory. This is in his head because he doesn't feel as strong as he needs to be for the final push. That's what I'm getting from those cards. Let's just pull one in terms of how does he view Zelensky? How does he view Zelensky? How does Putin view Zelensky? Three of Swords and the Three of Cups. Yes, as I said before, these guys want to fight to the death. It's personal. I'm remembering now some of the words I used. I said it was personal last time. It's personal. He wants him dead, and he will rejoice if that were to happen. Double 3. We've got double 10 and we've got double 3. Make no mistake about it. Bounty on Zelensky's head in terms of Putin. If somebody were to take him out, they would be elevated to the highest rank in Russian society by Putin, in his mind, and there would be celebration. So this is completely cutthroat, no middle ground. We want it over with. We want you out of the picture. Okay, right, before it gets any more dramatic, let's now pull some cards for Zelensky. I'm just wondering what deck to use. I had pulled one, but I just want to make sure I've got the right deck. So Vladimir Zelensky. What deck shall we use, please? Metatron. What deck shall we use for Vladimir Zelensky? Okay, yeah, I think I'll go for that one. The Dreamkeeper's Tarot. Quite a gothic deck actually, but I think I'll use this one. Okay, so before we do that though, let's pull a card from Sacred Rebels for Zelensky. So for Putin, he was thinking about his legacy, end of his life, reflecting on life review. Let's have a look at where Zelensky is, please. Where is Zelensky? A card for Zelensky. A card for Zelensky. Card for Zelensky, please. Going beyond normal. I don't know what his faith is, but I'm picking up a obviously the card denotes Mother Mary, doesn't it? Going beyond normal. Mind working on overtime to come up with a strategy, to come up with a plan, a light bulb moment in terms of how I'm going to win. Let me have one more card that goes with going beyond normal. Going over and above the call of duty to get the result that he wants. What you want wants you. Sorry, that card comes up as well. What you want wants you is this mutual kinship and relationship between the Ukraine and some of its allies. That it's mutually beneficial for Ukraine and, for example, USA at this moment in time. This is probably tied into money. It's also tied into the desire for victory, of course. And whatever you want, you will get. There is that sort of energy with him, to be honest. I remember a few months ago when he went out to America and he was seeing Joe Biden. I just picked up this energy of whatever Zelensky wants, Zelensky gets. Okay, that's what it feels like. Whatever he wants, he gets. Which makes you wonder why. Let me go to the tarot now, so I don't think I'm going to get any more out of those cards. Still not sure about the deck for him. Let me just double check. I've got 2 decks here. I need to get this right, guys. Hold on. Let me just check with my pendulum, please. Which is the right deck to read on for Zelensky? Is it this deck? Is it this deck? Good job I checked. I had the wrong deck. Okay, we're going to go for Psychic Tarot of the Heart. No, Psychic Tarot. Right, Zelensky. Let's have a look at his energy, please, at this time. Zelensky. Sacral chakra. Trying to, yeah, these are all like sort of, I'm trying to come up with creative solutions to this problem. The sacral chakra rules creativity. I'm trying to come up with, I'm trying to think, I'm trying to come up with, I'm trying to conjure up creative solutions for this. What can I do? What can I manifest? Who can I ask? The sacral chakra, though it's coming from a wounded place. Spiritual union. I'm not sure whether that card, well, no, I was going to say I'm not sure that card's relevant, but no, let's not do that. It's a double 2. We've got a double 2 energy here. Why have we got spiritual union, please? So I'm finding him quite hard to read. I find Putin much easier to read. Zelensky. Why have we got spiritual union? Solar plexus chakra. Victory and success. I guess the union is just the union of the allies and him, whether that's USA and Ukraine, whether it's UK and Ukraine, whether it's, I mean, Boris Johnson actually seems to be a real supporter of Zelensky, over and above the call of duty, I would say. He's not even our PM now, but I saw pictures only yesterday of Boris and doing something linked into the Ukraine war. I don't know what it was. But yeah, it's sort of sealing unions. Solar plexus chakra coming out with victory and success. What union can I create that is going to bring me success and bring me power? We have one card from here for Zelensky. Knight of Pentacles. That's the youth of Ukraine, the youth of the world. It's a simpler life. 8 of Swords. There's an energy here from him of wanting to get back to obviously a simpler life pre-war. I don't know what his background is. I mean, I know he was wasn't he a celebrity on TV or something, but I'm picking up like a rural, this is countryside. This is back to countryside, rural life, farming, a simpler way of being, but unable to get there, held back from that. I'm finding him very, very hard to read. It's really odd. Have I actually even got his permission? Hold on, let me just double check this. Zelensky. Oh. No. Okay. Right. I'll have to respect that. Should have done it before. I normally always do, but I must admit today there's a lot going on. I've only got about an hour to do this. So, okay, well, I'm still going to put this video up because Metatron wouldn't have let me do it if there wasn't a purpose to what I've already said, but I'm not allowed to go any deeper. I know that's really frustrating, guys. Yeah, I couldn't understand it. It was like it was veiled. What I've said I'm going to stand by because, yeah, it's all about the union and creative approaches, but not allowed to see it. Okay. How frustrating. Okay, let's just have a look then about the general energy of escalating war. What's going to happen with all of these billions being pumped into Ukraine? How is Russia going to respond? How is Russia going to respond? Let's see if we can get anything from that. How is Russia going to respond? It's going to give them nightmares, the fact that they've got all of this extra artillery aimed at them. And we've got it with, this is Mother Russia. Mother Russia, worried. This is also the Russian people, worried. Picking up something about wheat. I think there's a lot of wheat grown in Ukraine. Is there also wheat grown in Russia? I've no idea. But there's an impact on the crops. Sorry, can you see there's crops here on the bottom of this Empress card? Worry about the crops, worry about the harvest. Worried, basically. And also, this is my card for sort of USA in this deck because it looks just so much like the Statue of Liberty. So there's an energy here. Putin would never show this, but worry about America's help, America's aid. And worried because there is a shadow energy within Putin, which is, with this American help, it's all over. I'm going to be stretchered off. I'm not going to be the victorious, hero. It's going to end in defeat. How do I move away from this and get myself out of it? Because judgment is coming, and this feels like it's a final judgment. This is like death. Having said that, he's a gladiator who's never going to give up. Does Putin still feel as though he can win? Does Putin still believe that he can win? The moon, he's not sure. He's not sure whether the celebration and the victory is assured. He's unclear. He went into this with great bravado, thinking it was going to be relatively easy. And now he's facing the twilight and the moon energy, which is like, I'm uncertain now. I'm uncertain. Particularly linked into all of this allied help. Okay. Is this going to escalate further into a wider war? Page of Swords with the Hierophant, yeah, with the Six of Cups. That's exactly what I was feeling. This is a moment for the world to take check of itself and remember the past. Remember what we learned from the past when we sent off our sons to war, okay? Just remember the horror, basically, of war. To remember and learn lessons from the past. This is not a moment to go back into the past and create a third world war. Hold on, somebody at my door. So that was The Postman. Very interesting timing. I'm going to show you what's in this box because I think it's linked to what we're doing here. Within this box, let me just shake out the contents, hold on. We basically have got two candles. Two candles. So think about the symbolism of that. These are candles that I sell in my shop. So it's just I asked Tracy to send me them yesterday, so they've arrived. One is the higher self candle, and the other one is a Metatron attunement candle that gets people that do my courses get these candles. Anyway, the point is, I'm not trying to sell you the candles. I'm just going to get the candles out because think of the symbolism of what we are looking at here. We must not go back to the past. We must not go back to the times of sending our... I know it already is happening in Russia and Ukraine, but I was asking the question about a wider war. We don't. What Spirit is saying is you need to light the candles. You need to light a candle for Ukraine and you need to light a candle for Russia. the light needs to be sent to both countries. And this is, I will light the candles. This is one of the problems. This can be the candle for Russia. And we send our light to the Russian people. We send light to Vladimir Putin. We send light to Russia, with no exception. This is the candle for Ukraine. We send light to Ukraine. We send light to Zelensky. We send light to all parties there, no exception. Can you feel the power when you send light to both? Because the history of our world is we don't ever do that. We always take a side. And this is a message for the wider world. Of course, if you're in Russia, I get that you're probably on the Russian side. If you're in Ukraine, I get you're on the Ukrainian side. But I was asking this question in relation to the wider world. How can the wider world help this situation so that we learn the lessons from the past? Okay. And that we learn to put down the sword. We send light into both countries, basically. So those of you that are really trying to help with the peace effort, please light a country for both countries. Please light a candle for both leaders. Please light a candle for the world as well. You could add a third candle in, but that's really being told to me very strongly to do this. Because you'll notice, on videos like this, sometimes the comments are so unhelpful in terms of the energy. If you think about the energy of your words and what you're saying or what you're writing, and then you read them back to yourself, are your words coming from the energy of love? And where is it? This one, the Christ consciousness energy. Are they coming from that perspective, or are they coming from an energy of hate, aggression, one-upmanship, whatever it is? We have still so far to go as a species. Metatron is saying, write with the energy of your heart, not your ego. Or speak with the energy of your heart, not your ego. Ego wants to tell everybody else everything that they know about a situation, and don't you know this, don't you know that? Would heart energy do that? No. What heart energy would do is literally light the energy of hope and love for both sides in any war, in any tension, to bring peace. You don't just send light to one side, you send light to both sides. Wondering whether just to leave that there now. Feels as though it's complete. Yes, Metatron says do it fast. Do it now. Be it now. So one final card from the Sacred Rebels. The Sacred Fool. The energy of starting again. Not allowing yourself to be manipulated or put onto a string by anybody else. Be your own authentic, genuine, loving self. And I just really want to end more than anything with this Chariot card. These two. This is where it's at. Okay? Bring this energy through and ask for this energy and receive this energy and practice this energy. And do it quickly. Imagine if all of the tanks that have been sent were going in with the energy of love rather than war and fighting. Imagine how different that would be. Okay, that's this part of the video complete. We're now going to segue into, I can't remember what order I did it. I think we look at Sweden next and the build-up there and their desire in some part of the population to enter NATO. And then the third part of this video is going to be a look at Chris Hipkins, the new PM of New Zealand. Thank you very much, everybody, for all of your love, attention, likes, support, all the rest of it. Remember to light your 2 candles for world peace. Thank you. Bye. Now we're going to go into a different subject. Number 2. I would like to pull a couple of cards for Sweden. So Again, I'm not up to date with Swedish politics, but one thing that did catch my eye over the weekend or a couple of days ago was a politician in Sweden. I don't know why he did it, but basically he burnt the Quran. Now, Salman Rushdie, of course, has had a fatwa over his head for writing the satanic verses and is still recovering from that terrible stabbing a few months ago, at the end of 2022. So we know that it's not wise to inflame those who follow the Islamic faith, who are more fundamentalist, maybe in attitude and outlook. So when I saw that, I thought, crikey, that really is like red rag to a bull. Why at this point in time would you do that? Since then, there's been an uprising in many Islamic countries against Sweden. I think, so I don't know much more about it. I just would like to pull a few cards with regards to Sweden and see what's going on there, because it feels as though there's a change in the energy in that country. I'll just pull up Sweden and just see what comes up. It's 11:11, by the way, guys. 11:11, doorway. Let's have a look. Let's bring some light into Sweden and what is going on in Sweden. So Sweden, I'm just going to go for the top story that comes to me when I look at it. Right, that's it. Yeah, Turkey in particular are not happy with Sweden because Turkey is an Islamic country, and the president of Turkey, or Prime Minister of Turkey, Erdogan, sorry if I've said his name wrong, tells Sweden not to expect NATO bid support. So, has a Quran burning protest ended Sweden's NATO dream? A crowd gathered outside Turkey's embassy in Stockholm on Saturday afternoon to watch far-right politician Rasmus Paludan burn the Quran. In Sweden, Paludan, who leads the anti-Islam hardline Danish party, was watched by dozens of photographers and bemused passers-by. But Paludan is no stranger to controversy. He has previously been convicted under racism and defamation law. This latest stunt was called to show his party's opposition to immigration, and he says to stand up for free speech. Now, though, the stunt has become a diplomatic crisis for Sweden, and there are fears that its bid to join NATO could go up in smoke. Sweden is in the middle of trying to end its historic policy of neutrality and join the military alliance, along with its neighbour Finland. While the US and UK want the two Nordic democracies to be part of NATO, Turkey is holding out its support and has repeatedly threatened to veto it. Okay, so in a nutshell, I'm sure there's lots of other things that are going on in Sweden, but that is what is in the news today. And it is that burning of the Quran that piqued my interest. So let's just have a look at the energy in Sweden right now. I'm going to pull one card before we go in. Let's have a look at the overall energy in Sweden at this time, please. The overall energy in Sweden at this time, please. I'm hearing the word frustration. And as I said that, we have the Six of Swords and the Hanged Man. So I heard frustration. Six of Swords is the energy of wanting to move away from a particular situation or a particular energy or a particular part of your country's history or a particular identity. And the Hanged Man is asking to pause, or the fact that Sweden is in a pause is reevaluating who it is, what it stands for, and what its identity is. So it's quite an interesting, no wonder you got frustration, because this is the card of wanting movement away from something. And the Hanged Man is the energy of no movement, pause, stagnation. Well, not stagnation. You learn a lot by having to stand still and take a different perspective. You're being asked to take a different perspective. So it feels as though something is being rushed through, and the guidance coming forward is that there is a need to pause. It may, this may very well be linked into the energy of joining NATO, moving towards that quickly, wanting wanting that to move from a position of not being in it to being in it, but the Hanged Man is saying hold back. Let me just have a couple of cards with regards to how do the Swedish people feel about joining NATO. Now I have to say, before I pull the cards, going back, I don't know, 8-9 months, however long the war in Ukraine and Russia's been going on, when it first started, okay, but then within, I think, a couple of months, there was this talk. Maybe it's been bubbling up for years, I've no idea, but certainly within the media, suddenly this became a thing. That as the war broke out in Ukraine and Russia, suddenly Finland and Sweden were sort of putting their hands up in the air and saying, we want to join NATO. At that time, I remember thinking, my God, that's foolhardy. Not now, not now. Because again, you've got Putin in this corner and it's like red rag to a bull. One of Putin's big things is what he sees as the advance of NATO into his motherland, without getting into all the politics. That's his view of what's been happening. So for two other countries at the time when the war is just starting in its infancy to put their hands up and say, no, we want to join too, from this guy's perspective, Putin, red rag to a bull. So I thought it was very unwise for these discussions and decisions to be happening now. The timing couldn't have been worse. That's just energetically what I felt. Okay, so let's now though see the Swedish people. How are they feeling about, do they want to join NATO? I mean, there probably is, I'm sure, a referendum or something, but I'll look that up in a moment. But let's just see what the cards say. So the Swedish people's view of joining NATO. Show me the Swedish people's view on joining NATO. I'm hearing old school and new school. I'm feeling as though there's a proportion of the Swedish population that are feeling fearful, frightened, wanting to ramp up their defence, and they see joining NATO as their defence. And there's when I'm saying younger, they don't have to be younger in age, just it's just an expression. It's just a more youthful energy, which is wanting to turn away from that. And it feels as though it's being, there's spiritual lines here as well. Okay, let's just have a look. The Swedish people, show me how the Swedish people feel with regards to joining NATO. Angel of Peace, Temperance and Strength. It feels as though there's an energy of, okay, this is where the Swedish people feel as though they are, which is caution, patience. Let's just review this. Let's just think about this. Let's not rush in. Fools rush in. Let's not rush in. But this feels as though this is the leadership. I don't even know who the Prime Minister of Sweden is or who's in power. But this feels like it's the leadership or the ones that are pulling the strings in Sweden who are wanting for this to be much swifter, the movement to be swifter, and are emboldened. Is that such a word? They are emboldened by these times. They are viewing it as the best opportunity in years to join. Now, this is before maybe this book burning, Quran burning event. Okay, so we've got that. Bottom of the deck, we've got the card of endings, the Ten of Swords, tuning into a psyche within the nation that quite enjoyed being different, not being in the club, not just NATO, but standing apart maybe more from the rest of Europe, having a different identity, not following what everybody else does. There's an end to that now. Give me clarification, please, on the Ten of Swords. Feeling as though maybe this isn't going to end well as well, coming from the people. Give me clarification on the Ten of Swords from the Swedish people's perspective, joining NATO. Why have we got the Ten of Swords? Why have we got the Ten of Swords for the Swedish people joining NATO? Celebration, isolation, Okay, well, you could read. This is quite hard to read because I'm really picking up there's two different types of. It feels like the country's very split. I still am maintaining there's a proportion of the country that are reserved and not wanting to do this or wanting time to reflect. But there's another part who are feeling very gung-ho, wanting to end the isolation, It's exactly what the cards say, and have a celebration because we have joined. Right, I'm going to have a look and see whether there's actually been a referendum here. Sweden, NATO referendum. Has there been one? No. Well, no. They haven't had one. I'm going back here. This is from 2022. No. Ah, okay, this is interesting. It says press coverage. Press coverage for the push towards NATO membership has been euphoric. That's your celebration. Okay. I mean, this is just an article from something I'm reading from, last year. It may very well have changed, but it says here, in this media environment is perhaps unsurprising, the support for NATO membership is high, about 60% in Sweden and 75% in Finland. But a closer look at the demographics reveals some cracks in the pro-NATO narrative. It's a generational shift with young people supposedly eager to join the wishes of their parents, who we are told are hopelessly wedded to an outmoded position of Cold War non-alignment. Yeah, okay. This is basically saying that there's a contest between an older generation and younger ones looking at the world with fresh eyes. Contrary to the assumption that Russian aggression has shocked Swedes into unanimous support for the alliance, opposition appears to be on the rise. Yeah, it's split. There's definitely a split here. There's definitely people who are gung-ho, wanting it, celebrating, coming out of isolation. We're in the club. And there's another half that are very, very cautious. Give me one more card for that more cautious crew. The more cautious side of Sweden. The ones who are either undecided or don't wish to join. Just give me one more card on that, please. Really interesting cards, these. They have a vision of a departure. They have a vision of a departure and becoming... This is departing from an old view and an old way and how Sweden defines itself, departing from that, but they have a different vision. And their vision doesn't necessarily mean that they have to jump straight into NATO and just do what everybody else has. They have a different vision. They have a different vision. And they're holding the energy of the Emperor, the Angel of Wisdom, and the Ten of Cups, the energy of home, that it can be done differently. Yeah, okay. Right, I'm probably not telling you anything you don't already know if you're watching from Sweden, but this is what I'm just clarifying and picking up. Let's just have a look at this latest Quran burning event. Show me the ramifications of this guy having burnt that Quran. Show me the ramifications for Sweden of the Quran burning. Show me the ramifications for Sweden. The sun. So a spotlight has been shone upon it. Show me the energy of the Quran being burnt for Sweden. Two of Wands, progress. Show me the energy for Sweden. I'm not sure, guys. So when I'm not sure, I'm not going to say. We've got the Sun, the Two of Wands, the King of Cups, the Magician, and the Seven of Swords, theft. This King of Cups looks very Swedish. And that's a sweeping generalisation. There are Swedes of every colour, and it's just the old view of Swedes. You know, it's the blonde hair. So King of Cups, commitment. I don't know what this is trying to say. I'm going to go to a different deck. I can't read that. Might be the way I ask the question. We have some water. Let's just try and concentrate. Okay, Sweden. Okay, show me the energy. Show me the impact of this Quran burning in Sweden. Does it have any impact? Show me the impact, if it has any, in Sweden of the Quran burning. Cards are just not wanting to come out. Oh, there's one. Okay. Three have come out. Oh, the Empress and the Nine of Cups. The mothering energy again. And the hope, the dream, the wish. The Eight of Pentacles. Again, there's this energy of the mothers of the world. The mothers in Sweden. The nourishing divine feminine energy, rallying, coming together, working hard to bring in a dream of a better way of being, is what I'm getting from these cards. It's a rally to the divine feminine. The Magician, yeah. It's almost as though some of these subjects I'm talking about today, whatever the chaos that ensues from whatever situation or person, they are presenting an opportunity for the mothers of the world to unite and to work hard together to create the dream. What is the dream? The dream is New Earth, where we have respect for all nations, where we have respect for all religions and all beliefs, where we have tolerance, where we have justice. This mother is not a walkover. Look at her eyes. She's not a walkover. She restores order and harmony at home. There's just a very strong mothering energy here coming out of Sweden. Okay, any final cards? Is there a female Swedish MP who is on the rise in Sweden? I'm picking up the maybe. Let me just have a look at who is the leader in Sweden at the moment. Swedish MP. Swedish PM. PM. Oh. So there was a Swedish female Prime Minister, but she's now gone. And we've now got this guy. Just having a look at him. Hold on. I'm ashamed to say I've never seen him before. Sorry, guys. I like to try and keep up to date with the news, but it is hard to keep up to date with everything. Okay, he's called Ulf Kristersson. And he looks like that. Let's pull a card for him. Yeah, he's pushing for this NATO movement. Let's have a card for Ulf Kristersson. Well, his voice isn't being heard, I don't think, internationally that loud, because honestly, I do keep up with world news, and I'm sorry, I don't recognise him. It's literally like the first time I've ever seen him. Why do I not know of him? Where's his voice? Where is he on the world stage? I'll tell you what I'm feeling here is if he leads Sweden in to NATO, it feels like he just gets swallowed up. He just gets swallowed up. Where's the identity? Where's the Swedish identity that is distinct and different? I don't know, I'm just getting this energy of he'll just be swallowed up. It's like a lamb to the lions. Okay, Ulf Kristersson. Let's just see. What do the cards want to say about Ulf Kristersson? What message is there from Spirit, please, about Ulf Kristersson? The Queen of Wands. Feminine energy. Just feel there's a woman in the background on the rise in Sweden. Or maybe he's got a very feminine energy. You know, we've all got a mixture of male and feminine, but no, this feels like somebody else. Let me see him, please. Can I see him? Show me him. Show me Ulf. Ace of Cups. Queen of Swords. It's just all these women around him. He's surrounded by women. I don't know if there's maybe powerful women within NATO. There's certainly powerful women within Europe. What's she called? Van Leyden? Or is that a band? Van Halen. It's just my little joke. No, Van Leyden, whatever she's called. That lady with the hair looks a bit like Margaret Thatcher. Yeah, he's... I don't know. There's something here with women and him. I don't mean in a salacious way. I just feel as though... I feel like women would eat him for breakfast. I don't know. There's something here about women. The High Priestess. He feels threatened by women. I feel he's somebody who feels threatened by women or doesn't feel he can stand up to women. That's what I'm getting, guys. Anyway, let's just pull a final card. Will Sweden be successful in terms of getting into NATO? Let's get different decks. We've got all of the cards. Will Sweden be successful in moving into NATO, becoming part of NATO? Will Sweden become part of NATO soon? Will Sweden become part of NATO soon? Oh, you Swedes, you keep everything very close to your chest. And I say that as somebody that has got Nordic blood in my veins. But, you know, these cards are not wanting to come out. Because, yes, I'm just picking up, there's an energy here with the Swedish people, which is very beautiful. It's very delicate. It's very reserved. It's very polite. It's very well-mannered. And it's like going into the lion's den. It's like going into the lion's den. Look at that. Climbing those stairs into the lion's den, NATO, with the crescent moon at the top. I think that's the 9 of Wands, which is... it just feels burdensome. It's going to be a steeper climb to get in there than maybe they think it is. But we've got the World and then the 5 of Cups. I think it's a bit of an uphill battle, to be honest, and I think this guy burning the Quran hasn't helped the cause, if that's what you want. So it's like the defeated rose. It just feels like an uphill battle to get in. The World, end of a cycle, so maybe at some point joining the World. But I'm sorry to say we've also got the Devil there on the top of the deck with his hooves on fire. Is this really what you want? Do you really want to join that club? I'm not making any judgment there on NATO at all. It's just what I'm feeling and what's coming through with these cards. How else would you read them? How else would you read them? The detractors that are going to come for me, as I've just said that about NATO. Okay? That looks like a pretty steep climb to me. There's a wilting rose at the top. And we have the devil and the world. I feel as though this other aspect of the Swedish people I'm tapping into are wise to press pause and be cautionary. And it feels as though there is the possibility of the birth of a different type of vision that can arise, not necessarily doing it the way everybody else does it, including defence maybe. That's what I'm getting for Sweden. Right, I'm going to pause the camera here, go and get a cup of coffee, and we're going to come back and look at a different subject, which I'm going to decide on during my break. Why don't you take a break as well? Come back though if you're enjoying the video. Thanks. Just to finish off with Sweden, I think part of the feminine influence I'm feeling is the ex-Prime Minister, who I hadn't realised was a woman, Eva Magdalena Andersson. Born 23rd of January 1967. She's exactly the same age as me, a couple of months in it. I'm the 23rd of July, she's the 23rd of January. I just want to pull a couple of cards on her. Let's just do that because I'm wondering, is she down but not out? The King of Pentacles is... Sorry, is it Olaf? Ulf. Apologies, guys, if I'm saying these names wrong. That's Ulf, sitting on the throne. But look, yes, I'm right. Right on the bottom of the deck, it's her. And 7 of Wands. She's trying... I just feel that she's down but not out. I wouldn't rule her out in terms of... She's still going to be playing some sort of part in the future of your country. Let's just have 2 cards on her, please. Oh, God. Sorry, guys. It's all going on. So, Eva Magdalena Andersson. Okay. 2 cards going forward. Her energy for Sweden. Eva Magdalena Andersson. I love her name. Beautiful name. Eva Magdalena Andersson. Eva Magdalena Andersson. Strength. Fire in the belly. She's still got fuel in her tank. And that's a very, when I say it's a very female card, I mean, obviously it's a woman, but it's like, it's the I am woman, hear me roar energy. I'm not going anywhere, is what I'm hearing with her. One more card that goes with that. Just get her name up again because I'm not familiar with these people. Eva Magdalena Andersson. Eva Magdalena Andersson. Show me her going forward. Sweden. Eva Magdalena Andersson going forward. Show me her energy. The Ace of Wands. Yeah, she's not down and out. There is some worry, though, associated with it. Because look at all that blood on all those swords. She knows how brutal it would be to create a comeback Knight of Swords. But 8 of Wands. Death. It's like she's got an energy of High Priestess as well. She's got an energy of fighting to the death. Not physically, but it's that sort of dualistic energy. It is, I'm feeling like, again, this is past life. This is going back to, I don't know what ages it was, Middle Ages, you know, when you used to be on a horse, dueling on a horse. And you would fight to the death often, you know, it wasn't just a sport. Politics isn't just a sport for her, it's in her blood. What she says and what she believes, she does believe. And therefore, if she sees the country going in a direction that she does not like, she is going to fight back. Whether that's just with her voice, whether it's that she gets back into some form of leadership position, I don't know. But don't rule her out as a powerful advocate of change going forward. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Let's move on to another subject. Let's have a little look. I'm going to pull a couple of cards on Chris Hipkins, new Prime Minister of New Zealand after Jacinda Ardern stepped down. Please, no unpleasant comments about him in the comment section. To be honest, I just got tired reading a lot of the comments that came in on that Jacinda Ardern video, and I haven't even approved them. They're just all sitting there. It's just so many horrible comments, and I'm not into that energy. So I'm just going to read on him as neutrally and as fairly as I can and take it or leave it. Okay, so Chris Hipkins, let's have a look. He may only be there until October. We have the High Priestess and the card of Strength that just flew out. He may only be there until October. Then you have your election, but let's just have a look. How's he looking going forward in the next few months? We have the Ten of Pentacles. I will take that. I was going to put it back in the deck. The Six of Swords, that came out when I read on Jacinda before. This feels like it's her energy still. This is all the feminine energy. It's like he's overshadowed by her energy, her legacy, her government policies over the last few years, of which he was part of. She's moved away. It was exactly the same card we got. Ten of Pentacles, there's money involved, or she's certainly become quite wealthy. Let's have a look at him though. Can I please look at him? The Three of Cups, he's celebrating that he's got the top job. Look at that, his ship's come in. The Star, he wanted this. He wanted this top job. I did say in my reading on Jacinda that there was somebody in the background who was, really roaring and ready to go, really ready to go. He's absolutely ready for this. Three of Cups, celebration, and the Star. Yeah, this is my dream. And there's a part of him whereby he wishes to serve his people and he wishes to make a fresh new start. I have to say, just looking at his picture, sorry about the phone, he's got a very youthful little face, hasn't he? Chris Hipkins, let me just show you what he looks like to people that don't know. Chris Hipkins, he's got like this sort of boyish, I'm not quite sure I'd say good looks, but I don't mean that disrespectfully, but not my type anyway. But yeah, he has. Look at him. He's got like the sort of like impish, boyish looking face. Can you see? That's him. He's proud to serve his country. Whatever you think of him, he's proud to serve his country. He's proud that he's got the top job. And let's see what he's going to do with it. Okay, so that's him. We've got him now. Jacinda, let's just allow that energy just to fade out a little bit and let's look at him. Next 6 months in particular. Let's look at Chris Hipkins, next 6 months in particular. Chris Hipkins, the next 6 months. I feel as though there's going to be some... Okay, there's a whole load of cards just flown out. I was about to say there's going to be some big events that are going to play out, and Ace of Wands and Eight of Wands came out. That's a lot of fiery energy. I did wonder actually whether it's Mother Earth energy, volcanoes, earthquakes. Do you have volcanoes in that part of the world? You certainly have earthquakes. Rumbling. I feel like it's Mother Earth. Right, what are these cards that have flown out? Ten of Wands and Seven of Cups. Let's go to those first. He's going to find it harder work than he thinks it is. I mean, he's obviously already been in a top position in government, so he's not naive. He understands the aspects of the job, but it's like anything. You can view something from afar and think, I'd like to have a shot at that, or I could do better. But then you get in, and actually the day in, day out, hour by hour grind of any job can really wear you down. So I think this is saying he's going to find it harder work and more of a burden than he realises. And like a lot of politicians, when they come into power, and then when they leave power, they look very different. They age very quickly. So this boyish sort of impish look that we've got at the moment, I feel as though whenever he leaves politics, whether it's in October or whether it's in 3 years' time, he's going to age quite a lot. He's going to age quite a lot. And that just happens. It happens to all of them. So 7 of Cups, yeah, it's that thing about I thought I wanted it, but do I really want it? Was I better doing what I was doing before? Was I safer doing what I was doing before? Do I really want that? It's also an energy of indecision. Which cup do I choose? What do I prioritise? What policy needs looking at most? What proportion of the population needs serving most? It's a bit of a dithering type energy, to be perfectly honest. It's a bit dithery. We've also got the Lovers, which is the card of choice, and the Hanged Man. 8 of Cups and the 3 of Swords. Right, let me just look at these and then I'll show you them. So the Lovers and the Hanged Man. Yeah, he's got choices to make. Of course he has. There's an election coming up. He might have picked his new cabinet quickly. He might not be sure he's got the right people in the right positions. He might juggle people round a bit. Look at that card, the card of the Lovers. This person is juggling all these different people and trying to get the right mix. What's the right mix? What's the right set of ingredients that's going to win me the next election? Who are the star players in my team that are going to help me? Are there any old faces from the old regime of Jacindas that I need to let go of so I can have this fresh new start? He's going to want to present himself as a man of the people, in his heart energy. Whether he is or not is, I have no idea, but that's how he wants to present himself. Big-hearted. He also wants to open up New Zealand to more people. So having been in a very closed off state from the world, this is the energy of a leader who's saying, come to us, come to us, come and sample our waters, come and sample our land, come and sample our people, come and look at the Rainbow Nation, as I talked about in the Jacinda Ardern video, the Rainbow Nation, come and see us. So there's an energy here where I do feel as though whatever's happened in the past is in the past. I'm reading it as of today, and as of today, he's coming through as somebody who is wanting to create a fresh start and has, you might not like it, me saying this, judging on a lot of the comments that I got in the last video, but it feels as though he's got good intentions. And let's hope he does have. Why would we not want that? But we've also got the Hanged Man. Hanged Man, I'm going to ask for a clarification on that. The Hanged Man, and on this deck, it's obviously quite a gothic looking cross. And at the bottom of the cross, we have the bag of silver, Judas's silver. We have the sword that is broken. We have the cup that is spilt with red blood or wine. It's very, the spoils, how I got to where I am today. Maybe people I've trodden over or things that I haven't held true to that I believed, that type of thing. Let me just have clarification on this Hanged Man. Why have we got Hanged Man here for Chris? Why have we got the Hanged Man for Chris? Other than what I've said, which is maybe the job's not going to be quite what he thinks it's going to be. Hanged Man. Why have we got the Hanged Man for Chris Hipkins? Next 6 months. I'm hearing he's not, it's like whatever he does, he's not going to be able to please everybody. That's true of every politician, of course, but it's in an exaggerated form for this guy. Yeah, King of Swords, which is also him. He's going to, let me hold on. Ah, okay. Yeah, okay. It's like he's going to try and rebrand himself, is the way I would put it. It feels as though the King of Swords is this past position, maybe of who he was. Very analytical, very mind-based, quite ruthless, quite cold, maybe. Very intellectual. But it's as though the Hanged Man, I feel like he wants to rebrand himself as the new Chris. It's like old Chris and new Chris. The question is it authentic? Is it, I'm not sure, is it authentic? There's a rebrand going on. Definitely. Because we've also got the magician. He feels as though he's the magician and he can do this. He has all the tools, he has all the abilities to present himself in a different way. How successful is he going to be at that? The Seven of Swords would imply it's going to be difficult. The Five of Swords would imply it's going to be difficult. But he'll keep trying to do it. Victory at all costs is the Five of Swords. And we have the energy of the Chariot. He's going to go for it. I'll give him that. He's going to go for it. He's got a youthful vigour. Look at that figure in the Chariot card. Youthful, enthusiastic. It's like a puppy. I'm feeling he's a bit like a puppy dog. It's like a puppy dog. It's like, I'm going to do everything I can to make you like me. You know, how many licks do you want? It's that type of energy. Yes, and you know, on the world stage, he really wants to go for it. And yet, I want to say, and yet, let's have a look. Four of Pentacles, he wants to bring stability to the country. He wants to bring stability to the country. He also wants to bring stability to his position. He wants to lock down this position as the new Prime Minister of New Zealand. He doesn't just want this until October, he wants it for the next few years. How can I lock this down? I feel there's an energy coming in here, a bit like a chameleon, which is like, I'll show you the face that you want to see. I will adopt the policy that you want. It's going to be a lot of people pleasing for the next few months to get him back in. Is it authentic? Show me his authenticity. The Two of Wands. You see, I don't really like that because take away what the Two of Wands usually means. This is, for me, this is the carriage. This was the Andrew Tate card of the highwayman. But in this respect, it's like there's somebody in the carriage. These are the curtains of the carriage. You don't know who's actually behind the red curtain. You know? It's Wizard of Oz. It's like who's actually behind that curtain pulling the strings. I'm hearing throw them a few bones. You know that expression? You know, keep them happy, throw them a few bones. Throw them a few sweets. The world is watching the page become the king. He's very aware that the world is watching, or he thinks the world is watching, him come up from a more junior position, even though he was a more senior minister of the government, to the king. There's also an aspect within him whereby he still feels as though he's the more junior apprentice stroke understudy. And settling into the king's spot, you know, the figure of authority, let's see how he feels about that. I sort of already have answered it, but let's just have one more card to go with that King of Pentacles. Four of Cups. Yeah, it's not going to be what he thinks it is. And he's got the legacy of her all the way through. Of course he has. He's only just taken over. Okay, I don't really want to ask this question, but I will just ask it now because there's a hell of a long time before the election and a lot can happen, and I will come back to it. But let's just pull a card for his chances of another 3 or 4 years, however long you give somebody. So in October, sorry, there was a card turned up there. Let me just put it the right way around. It was the Wheel of Fortune, by the way, which is fate. Okay, let's just see what his chances are as of today, 25th of January, of getting back in October. What are his chances of getting back in October's election as of today? The Empress and the Hermit. There's a woman. There's a woman. Again, it's all this female energy. There's a woman either waiting. It's not Jacinda making a comeback, I don't think. It's somebody else, or it's the same message I've given for the other two reads. It's the mothers of New Zealand. It's that maternal energy, Empress energy. They've been hiding, well, not hiding away, but their power has been hidden to a degree. And they are going to decide the result of the election. This could also be the energy of Mother Earth. It could imply somebody who has a more indigenous background or is indigenous that rises up. They're hidden at the moment. You can't see who they are, but they're going to be more powerful. Or it could be that he aligns with a very powerful feminine figure that helps him get in. One more card. Will you get back in? Okay, I'm hearing Two of Cups. It's possible he will, but I don't know. It's a long time to go. I'm not going to call it at this point. One thing I will say, though, is that he's got a better chance of getting back in if he can appeal to the indigenous people. He has to put Mother Earth in the forefront, listen to her. I still think there's going to be some sort of event as well, geological in New Zealand between now and the election that might shake things up as well, literally. Okay,